Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. And we got ourselves a little market sell off here. Probably flushing out here as we speak. We're taking advantage of it. We've closed up now just about all of our put options. And on an option basis, we're beginning to go the other way. I know that gets so frustrating, doesn't it? But we're traders. We're traders. And so we just wanted to punch up and give you a view. I don't have a lot of time, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate. And um, be sure to visit the website if you want to learn to trade more mechanically, more robotically, and try to get rid of the emotions of fear and greed. Stop making. That's what all the retail people are doing today, right? Um, just kind of sad, right? Really, it's not what trading is. It isn't what investing is. And but I hope everyone is in one piece. It's been a phenomenal week for us. Hope it's been for you. And again, I'll be here to monitor any questions. But we got our nose to the grindstone here, and getting ready to. We love to do our option work late in the day, and that's exactly what we're doing. Any questions, you let us know. Now, of course, tonight on CNBC, the Contrarian News Bubble Channel, they're going to be out there. Market in turmoil. Oh my goodness. What is it? It's this, it's that, it's that, it's this. Remember 3, 4, 5 weeks ago? And they sold down the NASDAQ because it was China came out with a better AI. Remember that story? Yeah, that didn't last too long. And then they came out with a week later, the market broke down again, and they come out with another story. I don't even know what it was. Another story. The king and the queen story. Remember? And we said at that time that those were trimmers. Those were market trimmers. Those were warnings. We could show you on a chart. We could Swing Machine had it pegged, and he said, "Well, you can pay attention or not pay attention. You can hedge your portfolio, or you can not hedge your portfolio. It's up to you. If you don't have the tools, you can't be making decisions on the stories. It appears that the stories are right, but they're always after the fact. Let me show you something. Here's the VIX daily. On a daily basis, it was in euphoria. It's coming out of it a little bit. Here's the ES on a daily. It's going to be where? And well, it was in panic. It's coming out of panic a little bit. It was in there. So let me just mark this up a little bit. So when it was only a few weeks ago, wasn't that long, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, and everyone was so bullish because the VIX was down here, and where was the S&P? It was up here in euphoria. And what was it trading at? Do you remember? It was at 6,100. 6,150 to be exact, up in there. Guess what we were doing? Do you remember? We were buying puts. We were buying puts. For when? The latter part of March, the beginning of April. How much did those puts cost you, bagger? They cost me $10,000 a piece. 10,000. Do you know how much they're worth now? Hmm? Every 100 points is 10 grand. 6,100, 6,000. We're trading at 5,700. Hmm? They're worth about 30 grand a piece. Then some. Hmm? Guess what we're doing? I bought the puts. Now I'm selling it to some sucker who bought the S&P up at 6,100 and wasn't interested in hedging his account, wasn't interested in protecting his portfolio, but now he is. And what I bought for 10,000, he's now going to pay me 35 or 40,000 to get that insurance contract. Thank you very much. That's it. That's the way it is. Market doesn't care. When we're now up here, we got the reverse. So this is when I'm going to close the contracts. They're panicked. They're going to pay me. Not only do we get the direction right, not only do we get the premium right, but the implied volatility has shot up crazy. And they're really expensive now. It's like trying to buy fire insurance when your house is on fire. In fact, you can't do it. Or like trying to buy hurricane insurance after they give a hurricane warning. You really can't do it. You can't do it with a hurricane insurance. You can't do that, but you can do it in the market. But you gotta pony up, because when I bought the puts, nobody wanted them. When I bought the puts, that guy was saying euphemistically, it's none of you, but that guy thought I was, he's a sucker. The market never goes down. Okay. Okay. But now he wants them, right? Then we're talking euphemistically as an example, right? So when we go further out in time, we like to use options. So please don't anybody put on this trade because you don't have all the tools. And by the way, we will make adjustments. We will hedge our trades and trade around them. But now with the VIX up here, right in here, and the market down here, I got to close the puts. And what do I got to do for the next 35 to 45 days? I'm going to buy them. I got to buy calls. I directionally need to play for the bounce. That's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not saying that tomorrow isn't going to be, tomorrow might be another down day and it might be a down week, but the probability is very, very high that we're going to bounce out of here. I'm not saying that's going to necessarily be right here today. We're not doing, with our options, we're not trading those things intraday, trading those things over 35 to 45 days. A beautiful thing. We'll put them back to a 5-minute though. And let's clear these markers, and let's put the VIX back to a 5-minute. Let's do that. Bear with me. We come here to a 5-minute and here to a 5-minute. The VIX went long at 12 o'clock. The ES went short. This is on a 5-minute interval at 11:55. If you had taken that short at 11:55 noon today, you would have been using how much margin? About $1,700. You mean to tell me, Don, I could have just made $1,500 to $1,600? Yeah, 100% return. And, in a very short period of time, 3 hours, 100%. This one went short at 11:45, right in front, the market led. $4,000. How much margin would you have used here with a mini? You would have used about 2,500 intraday. If you used a micro, by the way, you would have used 1/10 that size, and you wouldn't be up 1,300. You wouldn't be up 4,400. You'd be up 1,200. You'd be up 1/10 of that, which is I'm sorry, you'd be up 120, and you'd be up like 400. 1/10 the size. That's what you would do. B. If you did 10 of them, 10 minis, which I'm not suggesting anybody do, you'd have 46 grand, 45 grand, 14 grand. But this is an acquired skill set. I mean, you might go to St. Petersburg. St. Pete has these the Grand Prix race cars over there. And you might hear them racing around. Jay Stutz is saying, I watched the 1 minute on the NQ. If you took every trade on Tuesday, you'd be up about 25 grand in that intraday. Yeah, well, we don't make any claims. I'm not, you do need to have Jay Stewart's. They've had some wonderful, wonderful signals, and thank you. But you do need to have acquired trading skills. So this would be like if you're driving by and you're going over to the Grand Prix in St. Pete and you see the big fast cars, wow, and they're making some noise, and then wow, they're racing around. It looks pretty easy, probably, right? It looks like fun. Well, just because you got a racing suit, and just because you got a helmet, and just because you not got a driver's license doesn't mean that you're going to be able to strap yourself into one of those Grand Prix cars and start driving around. So I don't want you thinking, oh man, if I had Swing Machine, I could put 10 mini contracts on there, honey, and I'd have 47 grand. Yeah, maybe, but you'd probably, no, you wouldn't take every single. No, you would not. No, you don't take every signal. And nope. Yeah, Vatos is correct. But yeah, there are 100 200 point drops, then back up to normal. Yeah, Barack Trump is in the White House, so anything goes. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, exactly. It's a tool. This is a tool, right? So we teach you how to use this tool in and of itself, which we've never really done on YouTube completely. And it's a little different configuration during Q School. We've given you a view of all the markets, and we've simplified this really a 5 minute because we really don't want and I know you guys are going to be bummed out at this, but we really don't want people tuning in on YouTube trying to just pick off a trade or two. You really at some point got to come to grips with that if that's what you're doing, either with us or with other people, because you might make a little bit of mad money. You might get hurt, and what I can also tell you is you're probably not going to learn anything, whatever it is you're doing. And with whatever, even us here, you might learn a little bit, maybe enough to be dangerous, but you're really not going to learn. I've been spending almost 2 hours a day, 1 to 2 hours a day with the folks individually that are in Q School so every day and we're chock full with very, very nice folks, working with these tools and working through some of the issues that are being banted about here on the comment line. But Vatos is correct. You wouldn't, in any configuration, just simply come in and take every single signal. It's just not necessary. And you want to begin to use these tools in conjunction with other tools. That's when it becomes really, really deadly. So the other comparison that I give is Lowe's, right? I got to go to Lowe's. It seems like I got to go to Lowe's every day for something. But you might go to Lowe's, and I agree. I never took a trade off these signals more than anything. I watched the euphoria on the positions that are in play. Yeah. The euphoria and panic, too, by the way, they're excellent. They're much more relevant on a daily basis, less relevant on a 5 minute, but still relevant, right? So, and we don't talk about that side of Swing Machine that much, but it is an important side. And Jay, so that's cool. I'm glad you see it. Um, and you certainly can trade it. So Swing Machine is well, there's only four ways to trade: trend follow long, trend follow short, counter trend, short and long. That's it. That's it. And Swing Machine is giving you trade setups on all four of those things. And it's just a question of what you want to do and how you want to go about doing it. And embedded in that, and the skill set is, knowing when to get out, when to get in, right? And so one of the things that you can do is we can put this Swing Machine onto a chart, and um, we can look back 5 weeks, 10 weeks, and we can see what is the average winner, what is the average loser, what is the average run up, what is the average drawdown. And then that can give you some guidance, not from me, but from the market itself. Hey, Keiko, give you some guidance on what you might be trying to shoot for. When do you have a positive outlier? We don't want any negative outlier. None, zero, none. Means we're not going to have, yeah, we don't use RSI. Just want you to know. And if you're trying to compare, and that's fine. Swing Machine does not use any conventional tool. Okay, so just want you to know. Doesn't use stochastics, doesn't use RSI, doesn't use MACD, doesn't use moving averages. It wouldn't work as smoothly as it does if we had. It has about 800 lines of code, and it doesn't. However, if you put enough stuff on your screen at one point or another, things will appear to line up. I'm not saying that at some point a 5 minute sell signal doesn't happen to coincide with a stochastic or something, or a moving average, or eventually, if you put enough stuff on there, stuff will crisscross. um but we don't use any here. Now we have over 70 tools, close to 65 to 70 currently, and growing. We do use some conventional things, in combination, custom coded. And when we do, we tell our members what it is exactly, what the logic is, and how that works. So, for instance, one of the tools that we use is the Pebble Beach Radar, and that reads candles. That reads candles. So if you're home trying to read and interpret the candles day in and day out, that can get pretty old. So the whole idea, back to Lowe's, is when you go to Lowe's and you go into the hardware and you look at some of them tools, remember Tim the Tool Man, and like, wow, I'm going to get myself one of those skill saws, and man, you can cut it this way, cut it that way, angle it this way, angle it that. Well, man, I got to get myself one of them. Well, you bring it home, and just because you have that skill saw doesn't mean that you're gonna, like, and you got yourself a pile of wood, that you're gonna build yourself a staircase. You know, Probably not gonna happen, right? Not, at least not with me. But but you might also too. You might have a great skill saw, and but you might need a level. You might need, a T square. You might need a pencil. You might need a tape measure. You might need a few other tools to get them going. You might have needed some instruction from someone who has built the staircase before, right? Maybe, right? If you're interested. But you could do it on your own. Might take you all summer. I got to tell the story. God, there was a kid. This is so brutal. We were in junior high up in Boston on the North Shore, Lynn, Massachusetts. Kid's name was Barry. God knows, I don't think Barry's listening. And it was a hot neighborhood, hot city neighborhood, right? And there was a little fellow, an older gentleman, and he had, around his house, he had a picket fence. And I don't know what makes me think of this. This picket fence, and it was only about like 3 feet high, 3.5 feet high, and he had all these pickets, and it had all gone to shit. And he seduced Barry, my buddy, who's about probably 12 or 13 years old, the deal was he was going to provide the materials, he'd provide the tools, and Barry would build him the fence. And that tied up Barry in our neighborhood all summer. We were playing stickball, we were playing ringolario, we were playing wiffle ball, we were playing baseball. I mean, we were having a great summer in the street, more or less. And Barry's over there working on this fence every day, get up every day in the morning, and he was cutting the pickets, and he was drilling. He did a beautiful job. I mean, those are probably a couple, took him all summer. And of course, kids being kids, we'd go up and say, Barry, how much is he going to pay you? He hasn't told me. What? You don't know when he's going to pay you? No. He'll take care of me. Barry, you should have found out when he's going to pay you. We would all chuckle like, holy smokes, I don't think that old guy's going to pay him anything. Barry did that all summer. And the guy would come out. He had time on his hands, and they'd walk around. And Barry was really diligent, and the T square and the pencil. I can't remember. And the old guy would be out there and, with a cup of coffee and stuff, and just watching Barry work his ass off. He had an old time tweed hat on, the old timer, and he did it all summer. And we're dying to find out what this guy's going to pay him, for the whole summer. And it got to be toward the end, and he got it up there. It looks beautiful. Then he wants it painted. Barry diligently paints each one coat. Then he did a base coat. Then he did a second coat. I mean, it took him like a week or two. I mean, imagine doing that with each individual picket. 12. I mean, it kept Barry off the streets with us. I mean, we were causing trouble. But it tied up his whole summer. Now comes, it's like Labor Day. We're going back to school. And the fence looks beautiful. The fence is probably still there. It's probably showing a little bit of wear, but now comes the moment of truth, or the moment. What's he going to pay him? My dad's a carpenter. I know how to use all the big, this is Keiko. My dad's a carpenter. I know how to use all the big power tools and still can't build a picture frame. It takes up a lot of quiet skill and experience to be actually good at anything. Yeah, Keiko, it is, especially carpentry. Or an orthopedic surgeon, which is really they're just glorified carpenters. They're really, really good. It's carpentry, orthopedic surgeons. And so in any case, it comes time and the guy pays him. You know what he paid him? Now this is, a long time ago, right? Decades ago. But even back then, he paid him $15 for the whole summer. And now, I mean, I I know we're kids, right? So we're like, Jesus, Barry. Barry was crushed. And we're looking at the fence and we're like, man, Barry, that was really good. A cheap bastard. Fortunately, fortunately, the whole summer, from June to Labor Day, he worked on that. It was a huge fence. And when this guy had a big house went around it. It was really a shame. But his parents were really, really nice people. And I didn't fully appreciate this till later, but his mom, Barry's mom and dad, um, got their arms around Barry. Barry was crushed, and they paid him. They paid him, and they paid him like $100, back then, which was a lot of money. And they paid it. They paid him. Do you know? I understand. I haven't talked to Barry in decades, but I think he's actually a professional builder today. I think he is up in New England. I think he's got his own building company. But I remember that story, and he worked really hard at it. He learned a skill. He learned a skill. I bet you today when Barry runs his business now, he finds out what he's going to get paid. When you put a trade on, I hope you calculate the risk reward. You better, you better, you know, every single trade we do, and the machine will do it for us, but we also need to do it before the trade goes in. We know, we know, and we can have that all programmed. You're not seeing the stops on here on Swing Machine, but we do have them calculated, and we do have them mapped out every single time. Every single time. So in any case, I kind of digress with that story. I don't know what made me think of it, but sometimes you remember these stories from kids. And but he did a great job. Felt bad for the kid. Um, Crazy. The old coot. He knew he had it. He just, but whatever. Barry's parents did the right thing. So I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you're getting paid by the market. And we are extended. And let me just show you the concern that I have here. I still have this concern. We're fleshing out. The time to have gone short was back a few weeks ago. This isn't the place on a position basis. On a position basis, I'm not saying that the markets are going to guaranteed bounce here. I'm not. And I'm not saying that the markets, are not going to crash out. They absolutely could. Um, but on a position basis for the next 35 to 45 days, this is not where you would want to initiate a short position. Not here. Not with the VIX in euphoria and not with the S&P in panic sell now. No, that isn't the place. And the other part is these March contracts, these are March, H for March. The June contracts are going to start trading more volume on the 14th. And the March contracts are going to go away. So I wouldn't be surprised later today, maybe tomorrow, but early next week, everybody who got short these March contracts is going to say, okay, all right, now what do I do? Do I, do I, you know, close the March contracts and roll into the June contracts short? Or do I just take my cash and do what Bag of Dawn's done and just roll on out? Which means if they're short, they got to buy. Uh oh, I just shorted this morning, Don. I just shorted at noon because I heard all the excitement on CNBC and they said Trump's tariffing and taxing and blah blah whatever it is. I'm sure it is, right? It's a Trump's fault. Even Tom Sosna. This is Trump's fault. That clown. God Almighty. Ugh, awful. Um, mark it down. Mark it down. Mark where we are, 5732, 2035. Mark these numbers down because I don't think we're going to be going into next 2 weeks. I don't think we'll be lower than this. I don't think so. I think we'll be higher. And if you're short, you're going to be suffering a drawdown. I don't think so. Let me show you something else. Let's go to the Renko chart that we've been showing you. Let's go look at this one. Do you remember this? Do you remember it? It goes back a couple of weeks. I know Tina. Tina, good to see you. I know Tina's seen this. Do you remember? Let me remind everybody where we are. Let me go here. Let me get a marker. This was about. Do you remember this? This was a Sunday to Monday. I think that was about 4 weeks ago now. Let's go find out the date. Right there. What was that? That was on January 23rd. January 20th. Yeah, it's more than a month ago. Do you see the high? 61.44. We put puts on there. Not crazy, not a ton, but some. And down we went. And they were up. We were up a little bit. And then the entire rest of the week, we traveled right back up. So everybody went, yay. Ooh. Now, when it comes to the puts and the options contracts I put on, I manage them. Susan manages them. She wasn't happy to see that. Susie, don't worry about it. We know where we are. So when we got up here, so what are we going to do now, Don? Said the puts we put on here, we're going to put more on. What? Yep, we're going to put more on. That's what we did. Down we came. Yay! Ooh. And as we went back up, I said, uh-oh, we could be going back up. So we got some short dated calls on to hedge those positions, but I kept these short, kept these short. These were out for the end of March. These were out for the end of April. Then we went right back up, but we hedged them. And so, yeah, it was kind of an emotional ride for Susan a little bit, but not for me. I'm all right. We got back up here again and we started back. And what do? We added the last ones. And what do? Boom, bounce, shallow bounce, and then boom. And now what? Now we start to take some off. Some of the first ones. We ring the cash register. We bounce, we watch, boom. We were taking them off. The options that were up here, we started taking them off. Because if you remember, we had this sideways action, but this was the price level. Do you remember this? It was right here. I said, we're going to head to 58.25. This doesn't hold. That's where we'll go. And we added up the range. Remember, this was how much is that? That's 61. Let's call that 61.50. And what is this? That is 59. Let's call it 59.50, right? I mean, we could do it exact, but how much is that? About 200 points. And what do? We go down about 200 points. Those options that we got up here at 61, and now we did lose some money on the time decay, but we made up for it with the implied volatility increase up here, and they paid out beautifully. But we're probably we're going to bounce, and this is the life of a trader. We're not Tom Sazanoff. We're not the hockey captain in Connecticut doing the macroeconomic mumbo jumbo, quad one, quad two. Let's get, bullish. Let's get bearish. Let's, the economy this, taxes this, inflation that, Trump this, Trump that, all of that. We don't do any of that. We just track price. Just track price. And these tools here also telling us you might favor the short side, distribution underway. Now, could we go lower? Could we go lower and I don't, potentially leave a ton of money on the table? Yeah, I could. But we're playing for the middle. We're playing for the middle. And I mentioned earlier in the week, someone just mentioned here about the mean. Have you ever heard? I hadn't. Others have. Gentleman that's in Q School is like, yeah, Don, I'm familiar with that. Aristotle talked about the golden mean. Aristotle, what the hell is he doing? What the hell does he know about trading? The golden mean. Let me erase this. Do you know what you know what it is? You're gonna do a Google search on me, but that's okay. The golden mean. Aristotle said centuries ago. Bear with me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. I did want to take the call. We got a really nice call from a fellow by the name of Jared. Jared, how are you? And he asked a really great question, and I'm going to answer Jared's question. I'm going to tell you what the question is, and and for the benefit of Jared and for everyone else. And as I said to Jared, though, I don't want to keep everyone else waiting. You're welcome to, Jared, you're going to be welcome to call back later, and you call back tomorrow, and everyone else is for that matter, too. I'll just finish the thought, though, about the golden mean from Aristotle. Just a quick minute. What is the golden mean? And he said that in life, it's important to have courage. And maybe we should paint that. Um, did I just blow up my thing? No, I don't think I did. Okay. So I'll paint that green, right? We want to have courage. And he says, but it's a balance, because as humans, we can be fearful, fearful, bad, right? We don't want to be fearful. But he said, and you can apply this to everything, but if you have too much courage, it could be a bad thing. Why? You could be reckless, right? JFK Jr. had a little too much courage, right? He'd have liquid courage, right? But, he thought he could fly the plane when he couldn't see the horizon, and it was reckless. Killed himself, and he took some people with him. Fearful is also a bad emotion. And if you're so fearful, um, you could be borderline cowardice. You never try. We learn from our mistakes, right? So Aristotle said centuries ago that you want to shoot for the mean, what he called the golden mean. Kind of interesting. And we'll just draw a little line right in the middle, the golden mean. And you want to kind of shape it a little bit more on this side than maybe that side, but you don't want to be reckless and you don't want to be a coward. You want to be in the middle. And when we trade the markets, we play for the middle. And a lot of times we exploit this side when they become reckless, and we exploit this side when they become fearful. Because most people who are in these markets have no clue what the hell they're doing. And they're trying to manage their emotions when they're behind the pilot control of a plane. That's not the time. That's not the time to learn. JFK, you're not going to get another shot. You could blow up your account. That's not what you're doing. All right, so let's clear this up. And Jared just asked me a really good question. He said, Don, I'm going to paraphrase this, Jared. And he said, I looked at your website and I see that you have a monthly membership. And he just said, and I never really need to know anybody's, let's bring this back up so people can see the market. Need to know anyone's financial picture. But he said, in fairness, and I get it, he said, Don, maybe one day I can, shoot to be an annual member, or maybe go to Q school, but not right now. And not right now. I'm like, okay. And then he said, so the monthly membership. And he said a lot, actually, Jared, to your credit. He said a lot. He had recommended the website, and and his question was very pointed, and so I want to address. He said, "This is what I want to do. I want to know, if I join the monthly, what am I getting, and is it going to help me do something very specific?" And so I'm going to answer that question too, for Jared and for everyone. First thing, the monthly membership to Stock Market Caddy is 99 bucks, $100 a month to month. You see good value, you're getting good value, you'll stay. If you don't, you'll leave, right? But we have a very, very high retention level. You get a video view of all of our algos every night. Gets posted generally between 9 and 11. And but it's taped. It's, to use an old fashioned word, we record it. And then when we post it to your members website, we send you a subject line in an email, and it's been posted. that that video is chock full of trade opportunities for the swing trader. The swing trader. What is a swing trader? A swing trader is someone mostly, doesn't have to be, but mostly using options or stocks. Um, could sometimes be using futures, but they are putting a trade on to go from 1 day to usually 3, 4, 5, 10 days, or better yet, 35 or 45 days, right? And the further out they go, the one thing nice about options versus futures to do that, you can manage your risk, right? And they can, reduce the leverage. Um, as a swing trader, it's very, we think it's very important, and we do swing trade, Jared, right? That you don't look at the intraday traffic, that you don't look at the intraday traffic. Um, and now that may sound like heresy, but that's what a swing trader should be paying attention, in our view, and we do, at the closes. And now our membership does not include, as a monthly member, that's what you get, chock full of, and you get tutorials showing you what those algos are every night, what they're showing, and how one might use them. But we are assuming that you have a little bit of or a little bit or knowledge of options and all. But that's what that includes. If your goal is to trade intraday, then for us, you want to have Swing Machine and all of our other tools on your desktop where it needs to be, so that you can make very fast. It doesn't have to be lightning quick, but you can't be waiting on an email from somebody or a text from somebody. You need the information right there at your fingertips. You need a dashboard so that you can make decisions to trade. Okay. Um, as an annual member, there's an annual membership, and but we require everyone to go through a Q school or a qualifying school, because that's a big investment of your time and of your capital to become an annual member. And we want to spend 1 to 2 hours with you for 3 weeks to make sure that you understand what we're about, what these tools are about, and that you have answered the question about whether or not you have the skill set yet to trade. So that's how and why we structure. And if you think about our pricing and our membership levels, and we've been doing this now a long time, not 6 months, not 6 years, but God, this is like over 20 years now. So Stock Market Caddy came out of the ground in 2012. We started doing our own trading shortly after 2000. Not from Wall Street, not from Madison Avenue, not. But um, but that's how we structure it. And if you think about it, what we're trying to do is give people an opportunity to say, "Yeah, no, this isn't something I want to do, and I don't want to be bothered." Right. So hopefully that's not going to be the case. Now the other question was right to the point, and Jared should be applauded for this. So please understand this, Jared, because he actually, if we had talked further, I would have asked Jared this question. And but he asked me. So he said he traded about a year. It hasn't been terribly successful. But what he wanted to know was very specific. And let me get my marker. And his question was this. He said, I listened very intently. Don, if I trade the ES intraday, intraday now, right? So this is going to be intraday. This is not going to be swing trading. Um, and I think this is a mini now. So I don't, if it's a micro, it's going to be even tougher. But is the monthly membership going to help me trade the intraday? So I think I just answered that. It is important to have a good understanding. If you are an intraday trader, I think it is really important to have an appreciation for where the overall markets are. And so we even require our annual members to still maintain a monthly membership because they will still learn. It's very important. We do this whether we had members or didn't have members. Susan and I still go through, both of us, these markets in the off hours to get an idea of exactly where we are with each individual market and what we're thinking and what we're going to be running the next day. So it is very important. But what he wanted to know, so um, he wants to be able so the monthly membership isn't really going to give him what he's looking for intraday. And then what he wanted to know is, all I want to do, Don, is I just want to come in and I want to make 500 to $1,000 a day. So um, let's break that down. There are 24 trading days in a month, Jared. 24. Trading futures, 24. If you take Fridays off, there are 20 days. That means that if you are making $500 a day to 1,000, you're talking about 10,000, 10K to 20K a month. Admirable goal. As a new trader, as a young trader with little to no trading experience, I didn't gather that from you, Jared, and just be fairness, we all got to start. The likelihood that you're going to do that is slim and none just left town. No, you're not going to do that. You're not. I'm sorry. Not going to happen. Nope. And there are things here embedded in this um, that that you may just not, you don't know. And this is the first step of learning anything, is becoming aware of something you don't know. That's the first step. And then learning about the things that you don't know. So before you start buying and selling anything, you need to understand the market. You need to understand, for instance, what do we mean by original margin? What do we mean by maintenance margin? What do we mean about trading in proportion? What do we mean by the difference between a market order and a limit order? What do we mean about having zero tolerance for negative outliers? What do we mean about controlling what we can control? What can you control? What types of decisions? So this is a lot. You know, I would never. And we're talking just, I'm assuming, even just one market. Now, are there people out there that are going to tell you, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you make $500,000 a year. I'm just not going to do that to you, Jared. Um, you have to go very, very slow, and you have to trade within your means. So when someone tells me, especially when you say, I can't, and this is fine, this isn't, and we all got to start, right? So, Jared, I want to compliment you. You picked up the phone, you introduced yourself, that my name is Jared and I got a question, so I give you credit for that. I do. It's not, um, but if you don't have the capital to afford Q School, um, you're not going to have the necessary capital and or the experience to generate something like this. you know Now, I'm not saying that you can't. Now the brokerages will give you the margin, right? They'll give you the rope. I mean, you could fire up an account. You could fire up an account with as little as $5,000, and you'll blow, a person. I'm not just going to say, you know, individually. I'm not going to pick on Jared or anything, but I know they'll blow them up and blow them up, and then you got to put more money in, and they'll let you do it. I mean, they'll let you keep doing it. But a person would need to learn. Now, if you said to me, Jared, I don't have the capital. I don't have the capital yet, but I'm going to save my capital, and I'm going to read as much as I can. And what should I read? And what should I look at? I'll tell you, but you would be better. My suggestion is save your capital, save your capital, which is probably not what you're going to want to hear, but I'm just telling everybody, save your capital, read and watch as much as you can for free from wherever. There's a lot of free content. Resist the urge to throw contracts around or options around, and save the money to get an education from someone you trust. Doesn't have to be us, but from someone you trust. And then when you get started trading futures, if you can find a mentor to do that you can afford, maybe you start with a $5,000 account with the tool, with the education, with the tools, and throttle this back 20 days to try to trade and to try to make $50 trading micros to $100. Well, that's kind of like crap. I ain't gonna do that. Well, $100 a day trading micros methodically over and over again. I mean, it would be $2,000 a month. And then build up your capital as you go, hone your craft, learn the game, and go from there. And we have people who have done that who have blown us away. But it takes a very mature person and a mature perspective. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I hope to hear back from Jared. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe he'll take the advice and save his money and come back another day. That'd be good. But more often than not, most people don't, because they want to trade now, and they got a couple grand and they want to turn it into 10 grand and 100 grand, and that's all they want to do. And they wind up making a donation to, not to us, but to the market. So I hope I didn't mean I'm not bursting your bubble, but I'm giving you some heartfelt and realistic suggestion, not really advice. You do what you want, but that's not realistic. Not realistic. If anybody's got any questions on that, let me know. But um, this is not because, see, what you realize is in trading, you know, um, you have to make not just one trade. You got to make a second trade and a third trade, and so you have to learn to be able to advance and hold ground and advance and hold ground. And there's an old saying that if you're playing with scared money, it's hard, and it is. And if you're trading just from emotion, that's what they want you doing, right? So I know you want to make money, but this isn't, when we do these YouTube sessions, there's always a little bit of not really a danger, but there could be the possibility that someone's like, oh man, so I'm going to plug this in and it's just going to print me money. And we talk about it and like, no, like, over and over again. Tina's heard this 1,000 times because Tina's been here for months with us, on YouTube. And hopefully one day Tina will be a member, maybe not. But we say the same thing. I think Tina would attest to, and hopefully others, Keiko, that this is an acquired skill set. Just back to Keiko's comment about his dad being an excellent carpenter. It's just an acquired skill set. And I know everyone. So this would be the comparison I'd make, Jared. You may not have heard this, but for instance, you can go down into the Caribbean on vacation, and you can stay at a really nice resort down in Ocho Rios or something, and go have breakfast, and you walk out, and you see the kids, and they're like, "Hey, come on over here in the pool. We're going to teach you how to dive," and they'll give you a lesson in the pool, strapping a tank on, and how hard can that be, and just put a regulator in your mouth, and teach you how to clear your mask and equalize your ears, and then, hey, this afternoon we're going to go out on the boat while we smoke weed, and take you out diving. I mean, I'm speaking from experience because um you know Susie and I were, when we were younger, would go to the Caribbean a lot, and that's what they would do, and that's what they asked. Now, did I? No, we were, in our 20s. Do you think I would do that with Susan? Not a chance in hell. What I said to Susie was, she, said, I think it would be fun. I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do, Susie. We'll go out on the boat, and they'll go diving, and we'll go snorkeling, and we'll watch and see. And if it's something you still really want to do, and I want to do together, when we get back to Tampa, we'll go and we'll get certified to dive. And that's what we did. And we don't dive anymore. Um, and I've told the story primarily was is that I didn't. Susan loved it, but I didn't, because I spent all my time just watching her, making sure she didn't get into trouble constantly. I didn't look at anything. I just constantly had eyes on her, which was fine. But I just like, did you see this? Did you? Nope, no, I didn't really. No, I was just watching you, making sure everything's okay. And so it wasn't. I just didn't enjoy it. So, in any case, I hope I answered your question, Jared. Sorry. I wish I could tell you that, that if you subscribe to a monthly, you could punch out 500 or $1,000. Now, now you don't have to do anything, and tomorrow you might take a futures contract in, and you might, throw it up there, and you might make $500. Um, that won't mean anything one way or the other. Or I won't be right. I won't be wrong. You won't be right. You won't be wrong. It doesn't matter. But if you keep doing that, whatever little capital you have, the market will take it away from you. Sorry, but they will. And you'll remember this lesson. So I would save your money. I would save it. I would find someone you can trust. I would talk to as many people as you can that you trust. Get an education, and then, and you get what you pay for, but ultimately you're probably going to have to pay for an education. Just make sure it's the best one you can afford, and the best one that you makes the most sense for you, for what you want to do. And God knows I paid Susan for education that turned out to be not good. So we do it. The Q schools are one-on-one, and I can't think of any better way. I'm with you for 1 to 2 hours a day for 3+ weeks. Trying. And I start every session. Yeah, what questions do you have? I don't know. I don't think the Nigerians are going to do that. I don't think, the hockey captain's going to do that. I don't think anybody's going to do that, quite frankly. And I see what's online, and I don't see anybody doing what we're doing, and I don't see anyone offering the personal instruction. Does it slow our membership down? Yeah, it does, but that's totally fine, because we're traders first and foremost. Stock Market Caddy is a secondary endeavor. It's grown bigger than I ever thought. Is very time demanding, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy meeting new people. I really enjoy seeing them, hopefully succeed, and I get a vicarious thrill out of it, and it works. So I hope I answered your question, Jared. Any other questions, you let me know. We'll let you watch here. We'll let you watch until after 4 o'clock. Um, I wouldn't be getting too overly bearish right here, right now, though. I'm not saying that tomorrow is going to be a down day. Um, but the market is getting a little bit washed out, and we're likely to see a statistical bounce. Now, of course, this is a little bit more than, if you're thinking, oh, this guy's just like the guy on Caddyshack. Remember Rodney Dangerfield? And he had the big bag with the stereo and the mic, and the radio, and then he opens up his phone. He's got a phone with a cord on it, right? He's got the big bag, and he's talking to his broker. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying. Then sell, sell, sell. They're selling, they're selling, they're selling. Then buy, buy, buy. That. Um, there's a little bit of truth to that. There actually is, but we're not doing, you know, this isn't Rodney Dangerfield and, we're just, flinging crap around. We're trying to trade with surgical precision. And Jared, if you haven't heard, if anyone doesn't know, I spent not my life on Wall Street, not on Madison Avenue. I spent it with surgeons, teaching surgeons how to work with the latest surgical instruments of the day. And for 25 years, I wore a surgical mask before they were fashionable. And that's what we did. And they don't wing it. By the way, the surgical mask, absolutely useless if you were wearing it outside. Okay, it's a joke. All right, so we'll go down that road, but that's a joke. If you took all of the COVID bugs, bugs that exist in the world, I think they'd feel like a thimble, a thumb thimble. If you took it all, if you think a surgical mask walking around outside is going to protect you from something like that, that's just nuts. We already know that because we used to measure that stuff. Well, you're very welcome, Tina. And I don't think we've ever badgered you. Tina's been following us for like, I don't want to say maybe a year. I think it's been over a year, right, Tina? But we don't badger anybody at all. I don't want anyone to lose sight of why we do the YouTube, though. It's just to inspire and to show, and that's it, and to answer questions. But you can join it at a monthly level. You can follow for free. You can get on our email list. But I'm not going to badge you. I'm not going to. We do send out the videos. We sometimes will compress 10 to 12 hours of trading down to a couple of minutes. And but if anyone's annoyed by that, just say so, and we won't send them to you. But we're not trying to badger anyone. This has to be something that you really, really also, Jared, really, really want to do. I think you need to have the trading capital. It's not a cheap endeavor. It's just like golf too, by the way. Golf is not a poor man's sport. It's expensive to play. There's very few endeavors in life that if you're not successful, that the boss reaches in. 5 years? Oh my God. Tina Saints has been following us for 5 years. Different names. I didn't know that. Over 5 years. Wow. Wow. Um, that's crazy. But that's okay. What was I going to say? That you have the time, that you have the trading capital, that you have the patience, that you have the discipline, that you have the knowledge, that you have the skills and the tools. But there's also something else that you must have. And that's the passion to want to do this. This can't be a fad, right? This can't be like, you know, well, I don't know. I'll think of a fad. Pickleball. I think I want to play pickleball. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to play pickleball anymore. you know, I pick on pickleball. It must be a great sport. I can't imagine playing pickleball, at least not in the middle of the summer in Florida, maybe indoors. Um, but I think it's kind of faddish. I don't know. But you gotta this trading for a business, as a business for a living, it better be something you really, really want to do. If it's something you're just doing for like a few months, then I just go to the Indian casino and try my luck there. You know, um, I was Danny Turner. Danny Turner. I know a Danny Turner. At least I know the name. I was Danny Turner. Are you as Tina Danny? There's Danny Tina. Oh, Tina Turner. Maybe I meant Tina Turner. I'm not sure. I knew a Danny Tina Turner, the name, I think. Um, but maybe I meant Tina Turner. Maybe not. I lost where I was with that. I'm sorry. Um, oh, the high frequency. Keiko, the high frequency trading video. Yeah, we discuss this all the time too. Like, so the high frequency, you control the frequency, how fast, how slow you want to go, and it isn't just the 1 minute, right? Or 2 minute. It's much more than that, right? You can set these at tick levels, and also then we have a whole another dimension of trading with price charts, a whole nother dimension. Um, yes, I remember you told us about some. I went to school with name one. You went to school with a name Danny Turner. I went to school with somebody. I did go. I think there was a kid in college that was named Danny Turner. That ain't you, is it? I don't think so. I think Tina's Tina, isn't it? Maybe not. You never know. Um, so I mean, we have members like now, like which is crazy, like all over the world. We have a gentleman starting on Monday for his Q school, and he's in no, okay, all right, in Singapore, if you can believe it. It's crazy. All right, so we'll let you watch, but Jared, hang in there. I give you credit. And the other piece is too. As an example, Jared didn't get a chance to say this, but in terms of a passion, we had a gentleman call one time from the Balkans, and he told me, he said, "Hey, Don, this is really just going to be a means to an end. I really don't want to trade. I just want to make enough money to get involved in real estate." My suggestion to him was, you know what? I think that's a great goal. I think you should do that. I just don't think that you should trade. I'd rather save the money. I would run coffee for somebody in the real estate business to learn, and might as well get in the swim and do whatever you can and learn from whomever you can about real estate, which I don't know that much about, and do that, right? Why not just get started? I don't why do something you really don't want to do just so you can go do something else? I had an old boss that used to say this. I didn't understand what he was referring to, but I do understand it today. And he used to say, Don, people are either running towards something or they're running from something. Think about that. So if you are running toward trading because you want to trade, and this is something you really want to do, that's one thing. If you're running toward trading because you don't want to do something else, like work for the man, that's something else. And that may not be enough to get you through and over the humps of what you're going to face and what you need to do. And that can be applied to anything in life. With that, I won't say anything more. Jared, any questions? You give me a shout anytime, young fellow. And I applaud you. And you got all. But remember, the most valuable commodity of all is time. Can't buy it, can't sell it, can't trade it, but you can waste it. Have fun, everybody. This will turn down at 4:15. I'll answer any other questions. Thanks, Jared. Okay, folks. By the way, I should also point out too, I think you should have a daily goal. I think you should have a weekly goal, but I think it's got to be based in reality. So if a person is out to make $500 to $1,000 a day, that's an admirable goal. You got to have the time, you got to have the capital, you got to have all those things and the skill set. But also, are you prepared? You would need to be to lose $500 or $1,000 a day for a period of several days. Could you do that? And if the answer to that is no, then your goal is not realistic. It just isn't. So it's you've got to be prepared, right? Because equity curves don't go straight up. You have pullbacks. You will have losses. You will have, hot streaks, but you will also have slumps too. And if you don't have the tools, you don't have the staying power, the capital, the discipline, the patience, but most importantly, you don't have the staying power, then you're going to get flushed out. And basically what's happened today, what's happened today is a lot of people leveraged up in these stocks and in these markets up at the highs, and they're now suffering drawdowns. And they got one of two choices. They either close their positions, sell where they don't want to and take the loss, or the banks or the brokerages will close them out. And that's what produces the panic and the flush, the shaking out the weak hands. And they could be weak because they don't have the capital, or they could be weak because they just don't know what they're doing. They don't know they're trading ass from a hole in the ground. They don't know whether to wind their watch or scratch their ass, or scratch their watch or wind their ass. They just don't know what they're doing. And there's a lot of them out there. Not Jared, not any of you. I'm not saying that at all. To Jared's credit, and by the way, I think he was from Missouri. I thought it was Orlando area code. It wasn't 417. He's a young person. He's trying to learn. That is that's kind of rare today. That's so he should be applauded, and I do applaud you, Jared. And but most of the kids, chasing the crypto and the memes and everything, they're basically lazy and don't want to commit the time, the energy to learn. Have fun, everybody.